Oh,
I do that a lot.
I know.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
how are you guys doing? Nice. We got like right off the bat. It's so much nicer because sometimes we start off with zero, and then people
Oh,
come up every so often, and so I feel it's so much better to be talking to actual people that are watching. So thank you for watching as usual. I'm Andy. This is Hedia. We are
hello.
we are in Scottsdale, Arizona. We don't live here. We are visiting, and we were a little surprised by the crowd because I thought that we were coming before spring break,
Yeah.
but there must be and I never know this, a pre-spring break crowd.
Scattered. No, I think they're scattered spring breaks because my daughter's friend also had spring break last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember a couple years ago they decided that various states would scatter spring break so that they weren't all the kids in Miami or South Beach all in the same week or in Cancun.
Yeah. And well, I thought, and we didn't say anything about Palm Sunday yesterday on our devotional. I realized when I was sleeping.
Oh.
I go, wait, we didn't say one thing about Palm Sunday. But thinking it was Palm Sunday and that everybody was going to, I guess, go home, we still had like an hour and a half wait for restaurants. And then we found the perfect restaurant, which was like, couldn't have been one better. We walked right in. It was tapas.
It was so good.
From Spain.
From Spain.
Awesome. So good. And you were telling me, and I was going, I didn't know the Spaniards like tapas. And you said, well, that's where. Hey, Gimlet. That's where tapas are from. Who knew? It was awesome. Yeah, it was really good. Really good food. So we're leaving right now. As soon as we get done with this, we're going to hit the road. So pray first that we have a safe ride home with uneventful ride home. That would be awesome. So we're reading from My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. We're getting down to the wire. We're gonna have to
make the transition to Wigglesworth.
Yeah, I think so. Only because I like the name.
Wiggle.
Like Elvis. like if you would have met Wigglesworth, they said, "My name is Mr. Wigglesworth." You'd have went, "Oh, how cute!"
Oh my goodness! Why did your parents do that to you? I thought my parents were cruel.
And we'll talk about that later. All right. So, so My Utmost for His Highest is our devotional. We've been doing it every day for almost a year now. Coming up soon, we'll be transitioning to a new devotional, but this is where we're at today. And Hedia will be doing our reading today.
Okay. Our Lord's surprise visits. You also be ready. Luke 12:40. A Christian worker's greatest need is a readiness to face Jesus Christ at every and any turn. This is not easy. No matter what our experience has been, this battle is not against sin or difficulties or circumstances, but against being so absorbed in our service to Jesus Christ that we're not ready to face Jesus himself at every turn. The greatest need is not facing our beliefs or doctrines, or even facing the question of whether or not we are of any use to him, but the need is to face him. Jesus rarely comes when we expect him. He appears where we least expect him, and always in the most illogical situations. The only way a servant can remain true to God is to be ready for the Lord's surprise visits. This readiness will not be brought about by service, but through intense spiritual reality. Expecting Jesus Christ at every turn. This sense of expectation will give our life the attitude of a childlike wonder. He wants us to have that. If we're going to be ready for Jesus Christ, we have to stop being religious. In other words, we must stop using religion as if it was some kind of a lofty lifestyle. We must be spiritually real. If you're avoiding the call of the religious thinking of today's world and instead looking unto Jesus, setting your heart on what he wants and thinking his thoughts, you will be considered impractical and a daydreamer. But when he suddenly appears in the heat of the day, you will be the only one who is ready. You should trust no one and even ignore the finest saint on earth if he blocks your sight of Jesus Christ. And I want to read Hebrews 12:2, which says, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God.
Mm-hmm. I got two things. Number one, start commenting, because we need you to comment. The comment is what pushes it out of the people so they can see it. It tells the social media whatever computers that, hey, people are liking this thing because they're commenting on it, and they'll send it out so more people can see it. So great. The other thing is, you know how they say that you shouldn't do a job really good because if you do, then you'll get assigned that job?
Yes. The children have learned that, I think, at 2 years old.
Well, your reading is spectacular.
No, but it's supposed to be for you.
No.
Spectacular.
I'm learning so much more with you doing it.
No, that's not supposed to work that way.
I love it. Hey, all I want to do, and I've told the story so many times that I'm almost hesitant to do it again, but just in relationship to Jesus shows up at the craziest places. My story of I was walking for many years, a couple decades, around as a Christian, maybe as one of the Christians that he's talking about there. I love like, yeah, I'm a Christian. Here I'm putting together men's retreats and putting together men's breakfast where we have these guest speakers, and look at me, and none of it was based on
running security.
But then suddenly, when I didn't expect it, when everything was seemingly okay, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on, but it was seemingly okay. I'm at a Marriott in Salt Lake City, Utah, at a Viseo conference, which is, healthcare products, and at a service that one of the leaders was hosting, and Jesus appeared to me right there in the conference room, literally, right there.
Love it.
Felt his face, changed my life, changed the direction. Like, no.
Flip the switch.
Okay, he's almost like, hey, I've been watching you kind of stumble around for a couple decades, and I appreciate the effort, but you're way off base.
Damn.
You know how I like to call people nitwits? He's like,
enough.
Yeah.
Enough with this walking in the dark.
But he appreciates it. He's going, I appreciate what you were doing, but yeah, come on, bro. That's not even close. You might as well be an atheist based on.
It's like Pastor Mark was saying. Like, he woke up one day and he was like, "I love Jesus. I think I love Jesus." That was you. Flip the switch.
Totally crazy. Even then, I still kind of stumbled around for a little bit. Like, okay, like I was like rattled. But then it all started to come together. I meet my friend Bruce Lynn, who I worked with for 21 years at the Anaheim Police Department. He gives me this devotional that we're reading now. He sees my son give his life to Jesus Christ. I'm just now attending a church called Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills with Jack Hibbs. It's all of those things began to boom, 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 boom. And again, Jesus showing up in all these places, right? It wasn't just the Marriott. No. That was just where he decided to reveal himself to me.
He'll order your steps.
Yes. And it was so great. And every one of those, I did not even hear about Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills until the day before I went. It was like a Facebook post. I don't even know. I swear, I have no idea how I found it. I just was walking through the door one day, and I go, I cannot even reflect on how I got there. It is miraculous. And then all the things after that, meeting you in line at an event, and us in our walk, and the things that you tell me. I don't want to take any of your story, but the things that you mentioned that, like, I could have been doing this kind of thing on my own, and it kept not happening, and here it's happening. And so I'm just here just to say, yes, Oswald was correct in his writing, that, Jesus shows up and you have no idea when, where, how, and sometimes it seems very odd. It may be in a gas station like Justin Bieber, found Christ. He was
not he found Christ. He found my friend.
He found your friend. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's the story. That there he is at a gas station, finds your friend, and brings him to Jesus Christ. So just amazing, spectacular things that I can attest to as being very, very true. Do you see what's happening there?
Yeah. It's I'm just reading Jim saying he does or does not. I don't think anything is real in the supernatural department. Still cool evolution of religions. Goodness grief, Jim. You need to open your heart to the supernatural. Andy just explained his story of how many years he walked before he actually met Christ. But
can I speak to Jim on that? And listen, Jim, I am right there with you. I was a police officer for 21 years. I didn't believe anybody. I didn't believe crap.
Stories of the Bible.
The stories of the Bible. I thought, those are really good tales that help. They're like
veggie
tales. But they're like, I think the Bible is great. This is before. And I think, the ark and the guys in the fire, and then suddenly there's somebody else in the fire. Moses talking to a bush that caught fire. I think, those are really good stories. that help bring a message. And I, like Jim, those all seem supernatural to me. But when Jesus begins to appear as a police officer, 21 years, the last person you would think, I mean, I can tell you, all my friends would think, this is not a guy that he would, you know,
He's just not going to talk to Andy.
The things that he's saying. As each one of these things happen, and I open my mind, it's kind of like even science, right? There's certain aspects of science that you would not believe. I've trained police dogs for 30 years. And to learn, as I did through some of the scientific studies I did, how powerful and supernatural a dog's nose is. It is supernatural. As you begin to delve into the power of the olfactory system of the dog, yeah, I never would have believed what I found out at that time. But it was science that brought me there, and it is almost a supernatural thing that you have to accept. You have to accept, because I've seen it. Dogs perform miraculous things. It appears miraculous, it appears supernatural, but the olfactory system was created by God. And so you got to come. I mean, there's no way that
breathing seems supernatural.
Yeah.
I mean, why do we take in oxygen and it pumps through our blood
Absolutely.
and keeps us alive?
Well, and we can deny all those things all we want, but if you just think about some of the other aspects of life that would be supernatural if we didn't experience them ourselves, but there's no way that all these things could have happened without a higher being that created them. There we go.
Yes.
So, Jim, I'm with you. I understand. Just a year and a half ago, I would have probably commented the same thing.
There you go.
But it changes.
Well, and I mean, for me, of course, I left Islam, and I was brokenhearted. When I met Jesus, I was brokenhearted. I found a pastor that I started to watch on YouTube from a tweet of a person I don't even know, and I was hooked. I thought the sermons were great. And then, long story short, I just loved listening. And as a Muslim, we believed in Jesus, that he was a prophet, but not that he was the Son of God. And so then one day I'm crying, I'm on my floor, confused in my living room, and Jesus showed up audibly, heard his voice. Hi, Hedia, it's me. That's what he said. And I was just bawling, hysterically crying, and it just changed my life, radically changed my life forever. I mean, when you encounter Jesus Christ, it's of course, it's life-changing. And I continue to find him in the most unusual places. And he showed up yesterday at the river, and I manifested this thing that looked like the Jordan River. I was like, oh my God.
Out of the desert.
Out of the desert. I was like, what is happening right now? This river that I have visualized 1,000 times is right in front of me. So.
And if you go to my personal page, or maybe yours now, is it on there? The picture? Is that you would think that we set that up. Like you would think, oh, they knew it was there. We had no idea. We had no idea that we were even going to do that ATV ride until we were driving here, and they said, let's do this ATV ride. Then you called, and then we almost didn't do it.
Yes, then I called to cancel.
You actually called to cancel, and then you called to not cancel.
Yeah.
You called to cancel the cancel.
Yeah.
And then we go, where are we going? We're like, well, we 3 stop signs, turn right, and then there it is. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, because I never really thought to put all those things together. It was an amazing thing, and you see the picture, and you just see it. You could almost see God's watermark.
Because there was this bright light.
Yeah.
And it was exactly because I visualize from watching movies and just reading the Bible of John the Baptist baptizing Christ in the Jordan, and the white light of the dove appearing, and the Holy Spirit descending on him, and God saying, "This is my son with whom I am well pleased." And I visualized that same interaction for myself when I was first baptized. And I've seen it over and over and over again. I recall it to my mind when I'm in a difficult place. And then I'm in the middle of Arizona, and that place manifests itself right in front of me. Oh, God is so good. I love it.
That was awesome. Can you read what Danielle says there?
Danielle, I've had a conversation with a friend about the stories of the Old Testament, and he thinks he's a Christian and he doesn't believe them. And I know I can't convince him. He'll need a God experience for himself, I think. But yeah, I mean, some of the stories of the Old Testament in the Bible, and Moses and the Red Sea parting and the Ark. But what I recommend is to point out, for example, Danielle, take Jack's message from Sunday and read through the passages he recommends from Zechariah and Daniel foretelling the arrival of Jesus. For example, he tells that he will come lowly on a donkey, that his skin was pierced, that he will carry the iniquities of the shamed. And these are passages from the Bible that are 1,500 years old. So it is foretold later by Jesus. And I think that the miraculousness of those stories helps solidify the validity of God's word in the Bible when you look at the New Testament and the Old Testament. So that sermon from Sunday is extremely useful, I think, if you want to help talk to your friend about it.
Awesome. Was Jesus
Brown? I love that question because I call myself a woman of color, and this one over here laughs at me because he says, "What color are you?" And I was like, "I'm brown." And apparently, I'm not brown because I don't know what the definition of brown is. I was born in the land similar. My ancestors come from the same place as Jesus, but is that brown? I don't know. Is it only black and white and yellow? Are we deciding are the only? I know science stratifies them into 4 colors, but to me, there is brown. And it doesn't matter? I don't know. But
no,
I'm
glad you decided to tackle that because I was thinking the same thing. Did you want to finish the point?
Well, no, it's just, he was from the Middle East. Is that brown? I don't know. I'm asking the rest of you guys. Is that brown? Because I call myself a woman of color and people like him laugh at me. And I've had people laugh at me before too, being like, "You're not brown, you're white." I was like, well, you know what? I've been beaten up since I was a little kid. Every stage of hostility between the United States and the Middle East, I don't even care what country in the Middle East, I was getting attacked. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm brown. But
well, my thing is, does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And it matters to certain people. I mean, a lot of things matter in relationship to color, male or female. I mean, I don't understand. It doesn't matter. If Jesus is black, I love him just the same as if he's black. I don't care. It's about the message. It's like Martin Luther King. His message is fantastic, regardless that he's black. Of course, he had to be black in order to be a part of the civil rights movement. That made it more powerful. But his words, whether he was black when he said them or white when he said them, the words are powerful. The movement itself was powerful, regardless of what color he was. Again, who he was important for the movement. However, it doesn't change the fact that the words are amazing and that the truth is the truth. The truth remains the same whether you're black and say it or whether you're white and say it. And same thing with Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter. I've seen all kinds of images of Jesus Christ. Of course, we most often see the one where he looks like a GQ model.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed.
Yeah.
Which is unlikely. Because he was a Jew.
I like the one that I see that he's like short and squatty and looks like a carpenter with really, like a real carpenter that comes with a butt crack. That's the one I love. And I go, Jesus had a butt crack. He could have if he had pants, but he didn't have, he wore a robe. That's why there's an argument for wearing robes if you're a carpenter. But his face is all raggled from the sun, right? And his hair is all disheveled. And I often see that image. That's the image I often see when I think about Jesus Christ. And I think I might even have it on one of my presentations that I gave at a men's group like 10 years ago. But that's one of my favorite images. So, and I hope I didn't go too far with that, but it's just that it doesn't matter if he was brown. He probably was because he lived in the desert.
He was Middle Eastern. He was a Jew. He was Semitic. Blonde hair, blue eyes is unlikely. But if white people want to make Jesus blonde hair to blue eyed, that's fine with me too. Like I also don't care what color he is. But I mean, honestly, and this is not the time for this discussion, but I don't think color should make a distinction between who we are, but it is part of our human experience. Like, I don't want to completely ignore that we all have different cultures and heritages and race and ethnicities, but I don't want it dividing us. So I want my child and now our children to understand the ethnicities, the struggles or the bloodlines that run through them, just because I think it's part of their human experience. And also, I mean, for me in particular, what I learned after accepting Christ is generational curses, which is an absolutely biblical concept where the sins of the father and the grandfather and the great-grandfather to four generations, God says, can be passed on to the children. So I often tell my daughter it's very important to understand that the Persian culture first was idolatrous and pagan. And then they went to Islam, which was also a false religion. But it was also from the beginning of time, and it's in the Bible, they engaged in extreme debauchery.
Mm-hmm.
They were party animals. And to this day, they still have that same personality. Like 3,000 years, these people are off the hook. They're like constantly. And I teach my daughter, which is something I had to learn the hard way, that be careful. If you don't break these strongholds, they will reappear in your life over and over again in yourself, and you'll pass them on to your kids if you can't break that stronghold that's passed down. So that's a biblical concept. It's important.
So much there. I'm trying to hold back. I think the only thing I think about is that if I had held on to certain thoughts about certain people in their colors and Muslims and that kind of stuff, and we talked about this before, how I was a police officer at Anaheim during 9/11. I was a detective, and from that point on, right the day after 9/11, getting on a plane because I had to fly places to train dogs for some of the airports that had the bomb dogs that were in those airports where the planes were flown out of. That suddenly I saw every person that looked like a Muslim or some type of Sikh or whatever, and I looked at them like they were the enemy, every one of them. So the fact that I'm sitting here with a Persian princess of formerly Muslim faith is just the idea that you don't hold on to these beliefs. Yes. You base your decisions on truth and who a person is and the content of their heart and their soul.
Absolutely.
And we have the greatest relationship I've ever had in my entire life because of not holding on to stupidity like that. Calling everybody by these things is just crazy. Like that's, I don't know. It's just so I hope that stays in context with everything. That whether Jesus is brown, don't care. Yeah. He's a light. I know he's light. He's the light. That's all I know. It
shouldn't be a reason to divide us or to separate us or to create a prejudice, but it does. For me, it affects our human experience. It's part of who we are.
Awesome. Oh, I was thinking about yesterday. You told me something else that I probably did not know. And I say probably because sometimes you hear things, but you forget them. That we're in a Spanish restaurant and there was something that came across our plate. And then you said, well, the Muslim faith was a big part of Spain's history.
Yes, absolutely. And so a lot of their foods are very much influenced by the Arabs that had come over and conquered Spain, and a lot of their foods. And I recognized them. There was saffron, there was the sausages, the cumin, the spices are all Arab influences in Spain.
Bacon wrapped.
That came after they were freed.
I was wondering where the bacon.
But the bacon wrapped on the date came from the Arabs, and then they wrapped it in bacon, and it was off the hook.
They tried to hide the date, like
wrap this in bacon. So good
with cheese in the middle.
With cheese in the middle.
Bacon wrapped date with cheese in the middle.
Oh, I just want to stop by and take me to go. I eat those for breakfast.
Now, as a Mexican, we have the bacon wrapped jalapeno with cheese inside, but not jalapeno, not jalapeno. But that was so good, and I did not know. I don't think that I knew that. Talking about brown people, Spain has a lot of white people.
You say, yeah, of course, because I mean it's the merger.
Yeah.
I mean, Persians used to say, Persians that were not Muslims used to say that the Arabs came over and dirtied our blood, because it was the merger of the Arabs when they conquered. When the Islamic Empire grew, it basically changed a whole bunch of cultures and indigenous people, and changed their food, changed their color, changed their appearances, because those were previously all white nations. So Persians are originally, that's called Iran, because they were Aryan, they were whites.
Yeah, that's the beauty of our world.
That's
so God made it work.
Absolutely.
The United States is like a stew.
Exactly. Look at us, the Mexicans.
Yeah, and when you put a stew together, it tastes amazing.
It does.
Right, and if we would just let America be America, it would be, and it is. We've proven it at different times of our history that if you just let us be a mix of just ideas and cultures. And I go Scottish festivals. I've gone to, of course, Mexican festivals. In Garden Grove, we have we have like every ethnic has a booth in an area of the festival, and so you get to just walk and just experience all the different cultures. It's beautiful, beautiful. Let's just stupidity. Sorry.
So
that one little question.
Expect Jesus to show up in unexpected ways. Like, be surprised. Enjoy the experience of getting to know Jesus, and don't get stuck in routines. I found that a lot of people, like Andy and I had an unfortunate experience at church a couple times in a row. It was a good 3-4 weeks with one of the ushers, and we just everybody in our section was like, "Wow, he just looks bitter. He needs to take a break," because when service turns into a chore and a routine where it makes you angry and you're bitter and you're interacting with fellow church members instead of being like, "Hey, how's your week? Seeing you again." I mean, every Sunday for a year, seeing this person, and he doesn't even know my name. And I'm like, hello, why are we not interacting as church members? When your walk with Christ becomes like that, it becomes mundane or ritualistic or boring or a chore, get off that road. Get off that road and meet Jesus. You're a great example of that. Like, get off of the hamster wheel and meet Jesus Christ in the flesh.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're getting on the road. We're probably going to experience some food along the way.
Hopefully. Some great food experience.
And let's know what you think about us doing a food show. Not just food, but a man about town, a couple about town. How about that? Couple about town.
I like that better than a man.
Yeah, a couple about town, where we go and visit different businesses, especially those that have struggled through the last year. I would really like to visit those and say, hey, they stayed strong, they struggled, but here they are. Come visit them, and it doesn't matter what kind of business, but probably mostly restaurants.
Yeah. Restaurants, churches, kids stuff,
gyms,
karate studios for kids.
Karate studios. Good idea.
Yeah.
You're so full of ideas.
You're
just amazing.
You inspire me.
All right, my friends. Thank you for the comments. A lot of great comments were coming through.
Thank you, Danielle.
We appreciate you guys so much. And Jim on, I think was he Twitch?
I don't recognize that icon.
Oh no, it's Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim, on Twitter for your comment.
Yes.
And encouragement. We appreciate it very much. All right.
God
love
bless you guys.
On the road again. On the road again. What's the rest of the words?
I can't wait to get
home
again.
What?
Wow.
All right. Well,
it's not going to be a singing show, though. So don't get freaked out. There will not be singing involved.
Why not?
Because
I wanted to do karaoke last night, and you wouldn't let us go to the karaoke place.
Oh, I need Roman.
Well, that was actually the thing. All right, my friends, we love you. God bless.
Bye.
Oh, you didn't say God bless.
I said God bless.
Oh, did you? All right.
Yes, God bless you.
God bless.
Love
right.
you.
Bye.